Okay, so we are gonna make a plant-based fried rice right now, whole food plant-based, an important distinction. We're gonna use the Instant Pot. Mine is a Cuisinart, but any brand is magic in my opinion. These are one handy tool to have for plant-based eating and everything else. I love it. So this fried rice recipe is so fast and easy, and we have it a lot in a pinch. The original recipe calls for oil, but we try not to use oil when we can help it. And we definitely don't need oil in the Instant Pot. So I'm just gonna put the ingredients all in with the water, and then we'll set the pressure and cook it. That's how fast and easy this is. So we are gonna use brown rice because it's whole. It's a whole grain. And so we use brown whenever we can, and it works great in this recipe. For a lot of other recipes, I use instant rice, but you don't need it with the Instant Pot or the Instant Pot. You can just use regular long grain brown rice. So I have 2 cups of that there. And then I have some garlic, some minced garlic. You can use garlic powder. I've done that lots of times before. But this is the kind that you buy in the jar at the grocery store. I happen to have that right on hand, so I'll put that in. This recipe has basil, which seems weird to me to have in a fried rice recipe, but it sure adds a pop of flavor. So I've discovered through trial and error that it is much better with the basil. Then all of the rest of the ingredients we're gonna get to use the Thrive version of, so we will not do any chopping or washing or peeling or anything like that. We'll start with the onion. We need 1/3 cup of the onion. This is the chopped onion. I'll just bring that up close by. This is what the chopped onion looks like. And kind of dark, I guess, to see that, but this is maybe my very most used Thrive ingredient. So I'm gonna just drop that in. We're gonna use a very small amount of carrot because I don't love the carrot flavor, but I do love the color that it gives and obviously a little bit of nutrition. So I only put in, oh gosh, somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of a cup of carrot. And the Thrive carrot is not freeze-dried. It's one of the few vegetables that's not freeze-dried. It's dehydrated. So it's part of the reason it's not my favorite. Then we're gonna need some celery. So this is a new can of celery. I like these small cans for many reasons, but one of them is the pop top. So I'm just gonna open that. There we go. And that is what the celery looks like. And the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of the celery, but I like to break the pieces up a little bit. So that is another benefit of using the freeze-dried version, is I can kind of just crumble these in my finger as I put them in. It's easier than chopping. And then the pieces are a little bit smaller because these are typically larger pieces. So if that makes sense, just gonna do that. And that way the celery flavor is all spread out there. The freeze-dried vegetables and fruits have the same nutrients as fresh. So you get the convenience of it and all of the same nutrients. And then the last thing we'll put in is peas. I'm kind of curious how old these are. Yeah, I've had these for a couple of years, and they're just so fresh when you open them because of the great shelf life of freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. So these are the peas. This is what they look like dry, and then they green up and they're beautiful once they have pulled the moisture back in. So we'll do a 1/2 cup of the peas. And the last thing we need to add is a little bit of bouillon. I love the Thrive vegetarian bouillons. They have vegetarian beef and chicken. They add so much flavor. So I'm gonna need 3.5 teaspoons of the bouillon. Smells so good. And then we're just gonna add 3.5 cups of water into the Instapot. I guess I should call it an electric pressure cooker. That's what it really is. And we're going to, now you might be wondering where the soy sauce is, because that's a typical fried rice ingredient. We put that in at the end. So I'm gonna put the lid on, set the valve to the proper place. We're gonna cook this, if you wanna come around here, we're gonna cook it on high pressure. And because we're using brown rice, we're gonna do it for 10 minutes and then push start, and then we wait. And the pot does all the work, and we'll be back in a minute to see what it looks like done. Oh my gosh, so I forgot one of the most important ingredients, so let me throw that in. So I'm gonna push cancel on the pot. It hasn't built up pressure yet, so I can take the lid off. The typical recipe when I got it calls for sausage or ground beef, but because we're plant-based, we don't want to use that. So I use soy curls. So these are Butler soy curls is the name brand. To my knowledge, there is no other place that makes these. This is what they look like before you chop them up. I chopped them up for the fried rice, but you just keep them in the freezer. They're dry, and then you put them underwater. I always do it for 7 minutes only, no more than 7 minutes, and then I drain the water, and then I chopped them up for this dish. Or you can leave them like this for things like fajitas and stuff like that, which we will do one of these days. Anyway, can't believe I forgot the soy curls, because they add such a fun texture and they absorb the flavors around them. So in go the soy curls, and we'll mix this up. And now we'll do the pressure, and we'll be done in a little bit. Okay, let's check this out. It's supposed to be natural pressure release on this. I've been letting it sit for quite a while. I'll probably let the last little bit out because I'm impatient. So, but you can tell it was almost done. All right, I got a little impatient on that, but we are just about there. Okay, now I can undo that. That is our finished product. I'll stir it up a little. Oh, wow, it smells good. And then it calls for 1/4 to 1/2 cup of soy sauce. I've got somewhere in between that there. And that is our fried rice. Dish up a little here so you can see it in the bowl. You can see the soy curl in there. Good stuff.